Okay, so on page 1 of the pretest, the first one says identify each number as rational or irrational. So the first one has a repeating line over the 8, so that makes it rational. Rational numbers repeat or end. Number 2, there is a pattern, but it's not a repeating pattern. The dots say it keeps going, so this is irrational. Irrational numbers never end, never repeat. The square root of 64, if you do that on your calculator, it is 8. That ends, so this is rational. Negative 51 over 5, well, it's in a fraction form. That makes it rational. Square root of 6, if you take the square root of 6, it never ends, never repeats. That's irrational. Number 2, how would you classify the number 125? Well, if you take the square root of 125, it is not a perfect square. It is irrational, so it is never ends, never repeats, so it's not a perfect square. If you take the cube root of 125, it's 5. That is an ending number, so that is a perfect cube. So it can't be both, and it can't be neither, so it's B, perfect cube. Number 3, what is the side length of the square? Well, if the area is 81, remember if you see the word area, you're taking the square root. Also, if you see anything, an exponent of 2 in your units, you're taking the square root. The square root of 81 is positive or negative 9, but because it's the length of a side, we're going to just use the positive 9, so it's 9 meters. Number 4, solve the equation x squared equals 10. Okay, x squared equals 10. I've got this exponent. I need to undo that, so I undo it by taking the square root of both sides. I look, and none of my answers are decimals. They all are left as the square root of 10. Oh, by the way, square root of x squared is x. And so then I could have the positive square root of 10 or the negative square root of 10. So it's plus or minus square root of 10. That's A. Number 5, a cube-shaped box has a volume of 64 cubic inches. Okay, I see the word volume, I see the word cubic. That means I'm going to be taking the cube root of 64. If the box is packed full of cubes with edge lengths 1 inch, how many cubes can fit on one side? Well, the cube root of 64 is 4. That means each side is 4 units long, so it's 4 cubes, B. And then the last one on this page, evaluate the expression for x equals 2 and y equals 4. Means I'm substituting those values in for x and y. So 16x to the second becomes 16 to the 0, not to the second, plus 2x to the second, that's 2 times 2x to the second, times y to the negative 1, but we're going to make y 4 to the negative 1 power. So the first step is substituting in. The second step is evaluating each of those exponents. 2 to the 0 power is 1. So that's 16 times 1 plus 2 times 2 to the second power is 4. And then this 4 times 4 to the negative 1, I'm going to move that to the denominator and make it 4 to the positive 1. 16 times 1 is 16 plus 2 times 4 is 8 divided by 4. So continuing over here, that's 16 plus 8 divided by 4 is 2. That's 18. So this is 18.